President Trump was speaking. In the background, you could hear the explosions from tear gas canisters and flash grenades as police tussled with protesters just outside of the White House. This was a president who was not giving a message of calm or a message of unity after several days of silence. It was instead a president taking the fight to the protesters, making it very clear that he was going to use the full force of the police and the military to crack down on these violent protests. Again, he called himself the law and order president. And he said that the violent protests that we've seen for several nights running were not peaceful protests. He said, indeed, they were acts of domestic terror and therefore an offence to humanity. He said that as a result, he would immediately be carrying out a presidential action, mobilising all civilian and military resources to end, he said, the rioting and the looting. He also said that he would be recommending to all of the state governors right across the country that they deploy National Guard troops onto the streets. And he said if they didn't do that, he instead would deploy the military and they would quickly solve the problem for the governors.
At the height of the protest outside the White House, President Trump was moved for a time to the bunker, something that hasn't happened since 9/11. For the Trump administration, the unrest is just the latest challenge he's had to confront, and he's singling out one group in particular for much of the violence, Antifa. Here's Ann Mercogliano.
As tensions reached a boiling point outside the White House, a dramatic scene was unfolding inside. President Trump, First Lady Melania, and their son Barron were rushed to the underground bunker out of an abundance of caution about their safety. The bunker is 5 stories below the White House. It was built to withstand a nuclear attack. The last time it was used was on 9/11. The Trumps remained in the bunker for under an hour Friday night.
Oh! Oh! That's the job! Oh, oh my God! Oh, oh my God! Oh, oh my God! Oh my God!
Yo, they just ran.
Oh my God!
Cop over here, like literally, like.
Oh my God!
Yo, look at this.
It's over for them.
They just picked him up. He's in that big paddy wagon. They running. They taking out like
The hospital right now.
Reporters are finding themselves literally in the firing line.
I'm here.
Are you okay?
I'm getting shot! I'm getting...
Who are they aiming that at?
Nice shooting at the photographer.
Us, like directly at us. Directly
Why
at
are they
us.
doing that?
He's shooting at our crew.
This TV reporter was hit by police pepper balls during the Louisville protests. She's not the only one in harm's way.
Cops just shot my window out.
The guy with the blood running down his face is a Minneapolis Star Tribune reporter. An LA Times reporter posted shocking video taken during the clashes in Minneapolis Saturday.
We identified ourselves as press, and they fired tear gas canisters on us at point blank range. I got hit in the leg.
This block of apartments near the port of Piraeus is a temporary home for some of the thousands of refugees that already have been recognized as refugees by the Greek authorities. 44-year-old Abdelkader Rahmoun lives here with his wife and their 2 children. They escaped from the war in Syria and came to Greece for a better life. They will have to leave their EU-funded apartment in June. About 11,000 more people will have to do the same.
As of June 1st is the first time that the Greek government has decided to effectively implement the Greek law, which says that the country's accommodation structures are only for asylum seekers. Those who have been granted the right to asylum must leave these structures.
Anger and grief on the streets of occupied East Jerusalem as Iyad Halak was buried late on Sunday night. Israeli police didn't restrict the numbers, but the family says the body was returned to them late at night to avoid a bigger procession. On Monday, Iyad's father sat with fellow mourners, remembering a son he calls childlike, who loved watching old cartoons and had little concept of the dangerous realities of life here.
He was 32, but he had the mind of an 8 or 9-year-old child.
Iyad, who is autistic, was walking to his special needs school near the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound on Saturday morning when he was confronted by Israeli security forces. His family says his teacher had familiarized him with the route, introduced him to police. But 2 officers tried to stop him, suspecting he was armed, and chased him to this shed for rubbish bins, where he was shot twice in the torso.
Let's begin this bulletin by bringing you the latest from Hong Kong, where for the first time in 30 years, Hong Kong has now banned the annual vigil held for the victims of the brutal Tiananmen Square crackdown in the year 1989. Authorities have denied permission for the candlelight vigil, citing health concerns due to the COVID-19 outbreak. But many feel there is another attempt by China to tighten its grip and stamp out dissent in Hong Kong. Since the year 1990, the candlelight vigil on the 4th of June every year has become an annual event in the city-state. In fact, Hong Kong and Macau are the only Chinese territories where residents are free to commemorate the victims of this brutal crackdown. Beijing is worried that the candlelight vigil would become a rallying point against the new security laws that China is imposing.
Now, it's alleged he was brutally killed at the hands of soldiers during the lockdown, but a National Defence Force inquiry report claims its members had nothing to do with the death of Collins Khosa. Now, the legal team for the Alexandra man's family here in Gauteng is preparing to challenge this report in court, as the SANDF reportedly failed to interview any of the relatives. Relatives of Collins Khosa claim the 40-year-old was choked, beaten and ridiculed by sjambok-wielding soldiers who'd approached him and his brother-in-law about drinking in the yard of his home on Good Friday.
Well, Rochelle, we know that this morning the Foreign Minister Javad Zarif sent out a message on his Instagram account saying, "Hello, friends, good news. A plane carrying Dr. Sudus Asghari flew from the United States," and he sent a congratulations to Mr. Asghari's wife and family. Now, Sudus Asghari was on trial in a federal court in Ohio. His trial started in 2018. He was acquitted last month of charges of wire fraud, visa fraud, and as well as stealing trade secrets. Mr. Asghari was a material sciences professor. He has a position at Sharif University here in Iran. And as many things happen between the United States and Iran, he's become a bit of a playing card in a broader political game.
For these workers heading into a garbage depot in the Bangladeshi capital, danger lurks everywhere. There are tons of hazardous medical waste here, but most private waste collectors and government sanitation workers don't have any equipment to protect them from COVID-19. Shariful Islam is well aware of possible contamination and fears for his safety.
In the streets, you'll find large numbers of masks and hand gloves. People just throw them in the streets after using them. It's us who have to clean these up without any protection or safety gear.
More than 3,000 tons of COVID-19 related waste was produced last month in Dhaka alone.